So I want to talk today about why proper coatings have the tendency to clog versus a sealant which doesn't. The reason I'm holding the mic like this is because it's going to form part of my demonstration of showing the difference between a covalent bond and a mechanical bond. So with polysiloxane coatings, which is what we use within our coating makeup, they will covalently bond to a surface. When the polysiloxane element of the coating covalently bonds to the surface, it forms a very dense glass-like layer. Whilst that is extremely protective to the surface, which is obviously the whole idea of the coating, the density of it means that contaminants like iron particles, mineral from water, acid rain, things like that get trapped on top of the coating. And that is because they have nothing else to cling to other than the coating itself. And that in turn leads to a build-up of contaminants, which then blocks the effects of the coating in essence. With a polysiloxane coating, when the water kind of beads and a lot of times sheets off the surface, as any water on that surface kind of evaporates, it will leave mineral deposits, even to a point where you can't see it to the eye, but those mineral deposits will sit on top of that coating surface, and it in essence changes the surface energy of the coating, which is why you get reduced beading, and that's why it's important to regularly wash to keep the surface contaminant free, but also carry out your decontamination wash so that you're removing contaminants from the surface and allowing the coating to do its job in terms of the hydrophobic side of things. It's still protecting the paint, which is why the contaminants are clogging the coating as such, but by doing the decontamination wash, you're bringing back that hydrophobic effect as well. So when we talk about a covalent bond in a coating, we're looking at something that is extremely strong because you have electrons shared with each other, so the bond is very difficult to break. So like this magnet on this, it's very difficult for me to get, or really difficult to get off of the microphone. So that's more like a covalent bond. A mechanical bond, however, is a bit like a key ring. It's a physical entanglement between two molecules in essence, or two or more molecules. So imagine a key ring or a paper chain like this. To break that, you simply gotta, and it breaks. So the bond of a sealant on the surface is far weaker than that of a true coating on the surface. But what that does mean is that sacrificial layer over time will wear off, and then it will need topping up. Whereas with the proper coating, it doesn't wear off, it just gets clogged, so it just needs decontaminating, not reapplying. The other thing with spray sealants is they tend to form a more flexible, almost polymer-based layer on the surface, which is less prone to trapping contaminants compared to a proper coating. So the point of this whole video is to sort of highlight that just because a coating isn't beading, it doesn't mean to say the coating's not working. We have to remember what we're trying to achieve with a coating, and that is protection of the underlying surface. You can apply a wax, a quick detailer, a sealant, whatever, to get your beading effect, but that's not necessarily protecting the surface. It's making it easy to clean for a while, and then it'll wear off and the new one has to be applied. But when you're putting a proper coating on the surface, you are actually protecting the underlying surface, which is why when contaminants land on that coating, it begins to clog up the coating, because the only thing the contaminant has to sit on is your coating. So as soon as those contaminants sit on the surface, it changes the surface energy, you lose the hydrophobics, and you've got to just make sure you keep the surface clean to bring those hydrophobics back. But remember, just because it's not beading doesn't mean to say the coating isn't doing its job in protecting the underlying surface.